Hi, this is Luana Dametto of the Brazilian band CRYPTA, and you are listening to The Bloodshed with the Vampire on the Metal Messiah Radio International, and I would like to congratulate Metal Messiah Radio with its 13th anniversary.
Luana, it's a great pleasure to have you here, and I want to welcome you at the Metal Bloodshed with the Vampire on Metal Messiah Radio International.
Thank you.
Luana, for those fans that don't know you, yes, we like to start this interview talking a little bit about you. You, a drummer coming out of the south of Brazil. You began to dedicate yourself to music and learn drumming at the age of 12 until later on at the age of 16 you joined your first band, Apophis, where you discovered your passion and preference for death metal at the time. What or who were your biggest inspiration in becoming a metal drummer, and how was the time spent with this band, Apophis?
Yes, my first inspiration was Joey Jordison from Slipknot, because at the time when I just started to listen to metal, I found out metal on MTV, and Slipknot and new metal bands were like one of the few metals that were still on TV, let's say. It was like trendy to like new metal at the time, and since I didn't have friends to like get to know metal from or like anything in real life to get metal from, so I would just listen to what was metal that was on TV and stuff. So I started with Joey Jordison and Slipknot. I think after that I started to find other bands like Slayer and intro bands, let's say, and really appreciate to listen to Dave Lombardo and stuff. But I would say the main one was just Joey for a long time, because it was the only thing I knew at the time.
How was your time spending in this band that you was in, Apophis?
Oh, I spent 6 years with this band. I remember my plan was to never quit this band. Like, my plan was to basically do everything that I would ever want to do with a band with that band. But since NERVOSA came in and was a professional offer and I would get to do things that were much bigger to the things that I was doing and stuff, I ended up quitting the band. But it was my first band. It was the band that I learned how to play death metal with. Very basic death metal at the time for me, because I didn't know how to play much. I learned with them. But it was the band that I learned everything from, I would say. I made my first gig with them, and I played in many gigs in the state with them and learned how to play death metal and this and that turn for this and that drum line thing. So yeah, they're still my friends nowadays, and I think at some point we will even rehearse again and stuff because they live in the area. So yeah, it's a band that I will never forget, let's say.
Okay, talking about NERVOSA. I mean, NERVOSA, this all-female power thrash metal trio from Sao Paulo, formed by Fernanda Lira, bass and vocals, Prica Amaral, guitars and back and vocals, and you, Luana Dametto, joining later as the drummer after some lineup changes. The band released their debut album, Victim of Yourself, in 2014, and Agony, a full length of 2016, and Downfall of Mankind in 2018. In 2020, not long after your very successful tour in Japan, you, Luana, and Fernanda suddenly left NERVOSA. What really happened that the two of you decided to leave NERVOSA all of a sudden, and how are your relationship now with Prica Amaral?
We remain friends. I wouldn't say we talk as much as we would talk if we were in the band together, but we remain friends. We're probably going to share stage at some point in festivals. So it's all good, really. But with NERVOSA, it was the same thing that we said online. Like, many people didn't want to believe that it was like, oh, but it's just that. But for us, it wasn't just that, because we felt like, for example, it's like in a relationship that you have with a partner. Even though you didn't fight or anything big really happened, you feel like at a point that you just don't have the passion anymore, maybe, or things start to wear out and you find different ways that you want to go and you have different opinions. Even though you're not fighting or anything is really happening, you feel like you're not connected enough anymore and you feel like it's coming to an end, naturally coming to an end. I guess this is what we felt with NERVOSA. Nervosa, that we all felt that it was coming to an end because we had different opinions and it wasn't as exciting to write music anymore. And we could have continued with Nervosa till nowadays. We weren't having any problems together, but the question for us was like, why would we keep with something if it's not honest with us and with the people that are listening? Like, we could release a new album and keep releasing stuff and keep touring and stuff, but we would be pretty much making an effort to do these things since we weren't feeling that excited anymore or that passionate about that thing anymore. So I think it wouldn't be honest with people to just release music just for the sake of releasing and selling, appearing live and doing like a character maybe, and keep doing the same thing, you know. Of course, we thought about this leaving thing and this process because it's a whole process, leaving a band, that it's your whole stability. For example, for me and Fernanda, we didn't have any other jobs and we still don't. The band was everything that we did with our lives. So leaving a band would mean that maybe we would be completely fucked and not have anything else to do.
I must say that I'm very proud of you girls, that you are very, very brave. Like you said, I mean, to leave Nervosa, I mean, even though that, thank God, CRYPTA is moving on a good direction, but that was a hard decision. I mean, to take that decision.
Yeah, exactly. We are very glad that people listen to CRYPTA and that people are like engaging with CRYPTA so we can leave off CRYPTA again and move on with our work with musicians. But it was really hard. So it was something that, of course, we previously thought about and planned. But when it happened, it, of course, seemed very all of a sudden to people because no one had an idea. Like, we were always very professional online and never showed any signs of that maybe we wouldn't want to be doing this anymore. So it was very sudden online for people. But yeah, I think it was the best that could have ever happened to both bands. I see that like they are very excited now with new members and going strong, and CRYPTA is the same. We're very excited and going strong with our music. So it was definitely the best for the bands, the more honest option.
Yeah. To talk about CRYPTA, yes, you guys formed CRYPTA in 2019. The four-piece consists of you, Luana Dametto, on drums, and vocalist bassist Fernanda Lira, both of you ex-Nervosa, plus superbly talented guitarists as Sonia Anubis, COBRA SPELL and ex-Burning Witches, and Tainá Bergamaschi, ex-HAGBARD. Besides you and Fernanda, how did you met with Sonia and Tainá to have complete band lineup, Luana?
When me and Fernanda started CRYPTA as a project, as an idea to basically start to play different things and do something else, we immediately thought of Sonia as the guitarist, since Burning Witches opened to Nervosa in Switzerland once. So we got to know Sonia there and watched her live and stuff, briefly talked. So yeah, we immediately thought of her and invited her as soon as we thought that we could start maybe writing music. And she accepted right away. We didn't know each other, but we were all very excited about each other. Sonia also liked us in Nervosa and we liked her job with Burning Witches. So that was that. And then we got to know each other during the process of writing music and stuff. We needed still a second guitarist, and we were searching online and trying to find girls that could match and that were Brazilians. And Tainá just sent a message for Fernanda that she saw some posts that we were making, like saying that, oh, there will be news coming and wait, because we're gonna post something about music in a while. And then she kind of understood that we were doing something together and messaged us like, I don't know if you're in the band. I don't know if you have something else than Nervosa. I don't know what's going on with these posts, but I see that there's something going on. And if you need a guitarist for anything, I'm available. I would like to work with you someday. And then it was right what we needed, and she just got in, and we announced the band like a day after she got in the band. So no one knew each other very well, and we were already announced online.
But how do you do having Sonia especially living in the Netherlands if you need to rehearse? 3
of us are Brazilians, but it's still like, of course, it's not as big of a distance, but it's like a huge difference between us two. I need to get an airplane in a car and this and that to get to Fernanda, and Tainá lives even further. So with Nervosa, it was the same. We lived also further away from each other. So we keep doing the same strategy of writing music online and putting our stuff in a drive that we up some riffs and drum lines and ideas and structures and WhatsApp. And sometimes we make calls to like make everything more organized and more organic. So we see each other, we talk. So yeah, it's all online.
Okay, but with CRYPTA, and this especially for Fernanda, who used to doing so much thrash metal, besides you used to do death metal already and before. I mean, to have get into the death metal style, what have made you decision to go into that direction for what you was doing first from Nervosa?
Well, CRYPTA started as a project, as like something else that we wanted to have. But at the time, we didn't know that we would leave Nervosa when we started CRYPTA. Yeah, we didn't have the idea yet. So, and we started as like a gateway in English, maybe. I don't know. We started as a way to make stuff, things that were different to us. For example, I've played death metal, but like many years ago, previous to Nervosa. And at that time, I was still learning how to play death metal. I'm still not expert in anything, but I played less, let's say, that I can do now, for example, that I practice more. So yeah, we started a death metal band because, well, we were playing thrash metal already and we wanted something different that we could put different ideas that wouldn't fit with Nervosa or that weren't very much the genre that I could blast without making Nervosa sound too death metal and stuff. Like a project to really put our extras, ideas, and to push myself again.
Especially for Fernanda that now has to do this kind of ground. How does she feel doing it? I mean,
she likes death metal a lot. It was something that she couldn't put in Nervosa, of course, because Nervosa was already, it was already set that the Nervosa was thrash metal and would always be thrash metal. But she always enjoyed Suffocation a lot, D-Side, Cannibal Corpse. She likes those very classic American sounding bands. So I would say it's normal. I mean, people got very used to her playing in Nervosa and only showing the thrash metal side because we couldn't put out the death metal side. It wasn't the thing that we were doing professionally. But nowadays it's just the opposite. She just listens to her thrash metal maybe at home and puts all the death metal ideas that she has been keeping in her mind for all these years in CRYPTA. So it's pretty much the same, I would say.
Okay, after having worked with Napalm Records for all Nervosa's album, you guys have signed with the label again for CRYPTA, debut Echoes of Soul. I mean, Luana, I want to take the chance to thank Natalie for this great opportunity to get to talk to you, Luana. Thank you very much as well. How was the welcome been? I mean, coming back home, Napalm Records, huh?
Usually, if you have a band with one record label and you leave this band, it's usually good that you show your next band to the label too, Maybe the label gets interested in your next band. When we started CRYPTA, we didn't know that Napalm would want us. We thought that it would be like just still a small project for a long time before we could do anything more professional, like having a label. So we were already planning, and I was talking to people and friends that have distros or small labels for underground bands who would release CRYPTA so we wouldn't need to release independent. We decided to show Napalm, the band too, and they asked for some demos because they also were excited to see what we were doing next and new. And we sent some demos. They pretty much liked the idea of the band. They liked the music and everything we showed for them that was our idea to do in the future when we could afford it. So yeah, they pretty much signed with us early on. We didn't have even all the songs that we needed to the album when we signed, but they knew that we would be doing because we already had demos and ideas for everything. We just didn't have the money that we needed. So yeah, they provided us with this support so we could put things in real life, let's say.
So I believe it feels so good, so great to stay there, to stay with Napalm.
Yes, absolutely. We all know each other. Fernanda knows the whole crew because she's the one always talking and making the scheduling. Yeah, the things. And yeah, Tainá is scheduling the interviews, for example. So yeah, it's much better to already know everyone that you're working with.
Okay, talking about this album, had the pandemic in any form affected the release of the album?
Definitely, I would say. First of all, because we knew we were in a pandemic and we couldn't do much, we were writing very slowly the album to get all the details that we wanted and re-listen to the songs and see if we wanted to polish them in any way. And we did with quite a few songs, actually. We removed riffs and changed a lot of things. And after that, we were ready to record. But because of the pandemic, we kind of delayed to go to São Paulo to record because it would be a big of a deal for everyone. Like me, Tainá, and Sonia need to travel far and stuff, and get in touch with lots of people to get to the studio and stuff. So yeah, we delayed a lot, trying to see if the situation would get better and trying to plan better ways to do it. While we were in the studio, everything was also trickier, I would say, because everyone had to be tested. Everyone was in lockdown till the album was recorded. So no one would bring, for example, the virus to the studio and maybe pass to someone that couldn't get it, someone that is more fragile or something, or older age, I don't know. So yeah, it was very tricky, and everything was always delayed because of Corona and because all the planning you gotta have if you want to be really safe. Because, we could just risk it all and go. There was nothing stopping us from doing this, but we don't like this. We prefer that we do everything correctly and really analyze the situation we were living in.
Okay, the band has premiered the first single from The Ashes last April 7, 2021, followed by Starvation and most recently Dark Night of Soul. But talking about this first single from The Ashes, where so many people were involved in the making, that you had a complete film set and even a director for the death metal scene. This was a massive production, and it is clear that Napalm label does have supported the band very well. What can you tell us about this video I'm talking about, and how was it working with the movie director at 02 Films, Mr. Andre Gustavo?
Very good question, because Napalm does support the bands to make 1 or 2 videos when you release an album. You gotta have something to help promote the album, so it's nice that you make a video, for example. You can do whatever you want. If you don't want to release a video, you don't need to. But usually, of course, we always take the opportunity to record videos. But because it was our first video and first album and first everything, we could never afford such production as we did have. The thing was, Fernanda's boyfriend had a friend that was a movie director. Apparently, like a good and a real one, not just someone that tells you that it's a movie director. And then this guy was just like, he heard the band and he liked a lot, and he was just like, this is really cool, and you know what, I have never done a music video. I always just work with movies and documentaries and stuff, and he worked for some things on HBO too. He just worked with big things. He never worked with a music video before, and he was just like, I like your music a lot and I would like to support the project, and if you can pay the costs of some things that we will do, I will get like a small crew and some cameras from my movie company, and we can do like music video. And then, okay, we had a call and I passed the script and we all talked about the script that we wanted to have, and he got pretty excited about the idea. And from that, we started as a small project, like I'm gonna get just some cameras and some people. And it ended up that he was just like, okay, for doing that scene, we need this amount of people, because we need people that can deal with fire properly, with safe equipment, and someone that is there if there's an emergency, and people that can bring like gas so we can control the fire instead of having wildfires. And then after that, he was just like, all right, then if we're gonna do this, we need the coffins, and we need coffins that have special holes for putting the cameras where we need to record you inside the coffin. Or like, okay. Then he got some people, and he got some more and more people and more equipment, and he started to get excited and like recruit. Well, at the end, I think we had 50 or 60 people, something like this, working on this music video, and everyone had an area or something to do in there because there was like lots of people to deal with. And of course, we would never have money to pay for what we did. And we also recorded in the HBO studio in Brazil. We would never get the chance of getting inside something fancy like that. Because he's a friend and he got excited about the project, he made like for free, I would say. We used our money that we would record a music video to pay their costs of like food for the crew and the basics that we could pay for. And all the rest was made for free. Everyone worked for free. Everyone was there just making extra time to record the video. So that was, I would say, a one-time lucky thing that we got.
Yeah, just to have him doing this video for you was something very amazing already, even if you have paid. And even now you get it even for free. I mean, what else can you ask for? I mean,
Exactly. It was much bigger than we previously imagined. Yeah, we are so lucky to be friends with a director, I would say.
Okay, tell me about the coffin. Did you went over to a funeral home and get a coffin, or someone make a fake coffin?
They made coffins for us. They weren't fake though. They were like 30 kilos each. So we had a hard time moving them, especially because I'm 10 kilos heavier than this coffin. So like for me, it was a big of a deal to move that. Yeah, they made 4 coffins for us. And then they made, I think, 1 or 2 extra coffins with holes in strategical places. And one was just half of a coffin because there is a scene of Fernanda falling and hitting the coffin at some point. So we needed to make half of a coffin so they could shoot her falling like they were inside. Yeah. And some coffins had just holes in strategical places so they could put cameras and record those scenes that we are inside the coffin. So yeah, it's pretty cool. They made the outfits and everything.
You know what I found so great, that you guys, every time that you was busy doing this video, you was keeping the fans updated with highlight. I thought that was very great.
That's nice. People were pressuring us a lot at that time to like release something, please release. But we didn't have anything yet. We were just making them. Because like I said, right after Tainá got in the band, we announced the band. So we had nothing. We were completely new to each other. So still the day that Tainá got in the band and we announced the band to the date that we were able to release something. Of course, we were working a lot in that period, but people didn't know. I think people expected that we would announce in like the band and then release something, which wasn't the case at all. So to try to make things better, let's say, since people were waiting so much for news, everything that we had that was going on, we were posting at the same time. So people could see that, like, okay, they are working, they are doing it. It's going to be released at some point.
Souls became cadaveric remains. There's no
Echoes of the Soul was made available in the following formats: CD jewelry cases, gold, black, vinyl, gatefold, gold, vinyl, then marble orange vinyl, music cassette, digital album. How are the reaction of the fans towards this release so far, Luana?
It's going very well. We didn't know it would go so well, actually, for a debut album. Right away, I remember when we just released the album and Napalm had the pre-orders and stuff, that some versions of the vinyl got sold out and the tape got sold out after a while. So now they remade, of course, more of everything. But at first, we got some things sold out in the pre-order. So it's certainly much better than we imagined. And it's nice that Napalm agreed with us that it would be nice to have all medias, like CD and even tape and stuff.
Okay, very great. Luana, yes, talking about this great album, Echoes of the Soul, if you have to describe it in, briefly, how would you describe it for fans that have not heard about the band as yet? How would you present this album?
I would say that it's good death metal if you haven't heard the album yet. I don't want people to be expecting that we are going to sound like something new or that it's going to be impressive in any way or that it's going to, be something that, oh my God, this is so new to the genre or stuff like this. No. The idea is it's just death metal. It's good death metal and it's death metal made with passion, which is something that I believe it's the most important about a band, that it's being done with passion and not just to sound complicated or to try to do this and do that. We're just playing the music we like and we do it the way we like. So if people end up liking that too, it's a bonus for us. But our idea is just to produce death metal that we like and nothing new or out of the conventional, I would say.
Okay, the album was recorded in January 2021 at the Family Mob Studio in Brazil, formed by Jean Dolabella, musician, producer, songwriter, better known as the drummer of Sepultura after Igor Cavalera left the band, and also with Esteban Romera, a guitarist of the band Desalmado, since 2004. The mixing was done by Arthur Risk and mastered by the famed Jens Birken, who also worked with Opeth, Dimmu Borgir, Sepultura, etc. How was the recording at the Family Mob Studio and the mixing at Arthur Risk gone, and why have you decided to use Jens Birken for the mastering?
We recorded at Family Mob before when we released the Downfall of Mankind from Nervosa. So when we got there, we already knew everyone, and Stefan is a close friend of ours. With CRYPTA, he also recorded the playthroughs that we're releasing. He recorded a band playthrough. He recorded the making-ofs and the studio report, like everything. He did everything. I don't know what he didn't do for us. Like, he literally rent a house for us to stay. So yeah, we are pretty close friends with the crew in Family Mob. So it was very nice to come back there. It's always easier to record in a place that you know what are your options, who you're going to work with, and how it's going to be. So I don't even know if we expect to change studio in the future. I think we'll just keep going to Family Mob. We like it so much there.
How was the work done with Arthur Risk and Jens Birken?
Yeah, we wanted the album to sound somewhat raw, I would say, not very processed and modern in the way it sounds. I think we said that we would play old school death metal at some point in the early days with CRYPTA when we didn't have anything. We thought it would sound like old school death metal, but it doesn't. At the end, our music doesn't sound like old school death metal, but we wanted to go for an old school way of recording, I would say, that the guitars were mic'd and the drums that didn't have triggers or samples or anything like that. So yeah, it sounds pretty raw, and we wanted someone that would mix it and keep it as raw as we wanted. Someone that would make our sound better, but not putting samples on top of the musicians or not triggering us or, really processing the music so much for you to sound like a robot or a computer. We wanted someone that would just, align the instruments and put the volumes where they should be, and maybe even not too perfect because we didn't want to sound like we were too processed. So it sounds like we recorded, which is something awesome. And Arthur just made a great job in mixing what we recorded and making it sound nice, but raw and real. The same with Jens. We read online that he said that he preferred much more bands that didn't use samples or anything too artificial. So we really liked the idea that he would be mastering this kind of work. And he worked with all kinds of bands too, which for us was very important. He worked with death metal bands, power metal, heavy metal, black metal, like everything that you can ever think of. So we didn't even need to say anything to that guy. We just need to send him and wait for the master to be done because he's just an extra professional.
Okay, talking about recording, tell us about your drum kit. Did you use a different drum kit for this recording that you normally use playing?
I use the same setup as I have at home, like 3 tones and 2 floor tones, which is something that I never used with NERVOSA. I used much smaller. I felt like I didn't need the extra parts. But now with CRYPTA, I wanted to like play tribal things and some parts and to put more fills with higher sounding things. So yeah, I added some details to the drums, which is the drum kit that I always had at home. But in the studio, it was pretty much different, not because of the setup, but because of the size of the things that I used. I used much bigger floor tones that I'm used to, and the kick bass was much bigger than I used to. So the drums got higher than I am used to. So yeah, I had the parts that I use at home, but the parts were all different from the ones I have home and from the sizes that I have. So it was challenging.
That means that it has, took you more days to record the drum part because that?
I wouldn't say so. We took like a day extra than I thought we would take to record the drums. I took 5 days. We expected 4 days to record. I think it was, I don't know, I think we have 10 songs with the bonus that wasn't released yet. So yeah, we took 5 days, but it wasn't really the kit that made delay an extra day, but we had some unlucky problems at the studio that, for example, there was a day that there was some people from the fire people. I don't know this in English. Well, the fire people. Yeah, they were in front of the studio and they needed to cut some trees in there, trees that were like almost reaching the electric cables in the streets. For that, we arrived at the studio at the time to record and there was no electricity in the street already. And they would like keep with that for hours because they were cutting trees and we couldn't control. Yeah. So we lost many hours on that. And there was another day where we had electricity problems too. It's unfortunate because like Family Mob is super professional and we never had problems or anyone that we know had problems in there. But unfortunately, we got some electricity problems during the recording. So yeah, I lost many hours and needed to regain that.
Okay, to go to the last part. The cover artwork was created by Wes Bankscotter, who is internationally famous for his stunning covers for bands such as Slayer, Creator, Black Sabbath, and many more. How did you guys got in touch with Wes for the album cover artwork? And was this a special one created for the band, or was it an artwork that already was made and been adjusted to the band needs?
Very good question, actually. The art was made for the band. We had the concept already. We had some meetings with some brainstorms to get to the idea that we wanted to pass through our cover and like represent most of the lyrics. Not all, because it's not a conceptual album, so we couldn't like just make one style to everything. So we kind of mixed some lyrics and tried to make that art. And the idea of getting Wes to work with us is because like he does paintings and it's all handmade and anything goes through a computer. Like he just paints and it's done. Because the album sounds raw and we had that idea that we wanted it to be all real, let's say, as it was done by hand. We also wanted an artist that would represent that with his art, something that was done by hand and not edited or something like that. So yeah, and something that could look like maybe came from the 90s or something. By the way, we're actually going to release a video in some days about this specific topic. So yeah, but that's it in general.
All right. Thank you for give us like a kind of premiere on this. Luana, to go to the last part of this interview, almost a year ago, the band has announced the signing with the booking agency's Napalm event. I mean, these booking agencies will be taking care of all your shows, but I see except Latin America. Yeah, as soon as you guys are ready to tour, they're going to be taking care of your tour bookings. How are things going with the booking agency and who are taking care for your Latin American bookings?
It's going well with Napalm. We worked with Napalm events with NERVOSA too. So it's pretty much the same for us. Every time that we need to tour in Europe or go to festivals and stuff, they are in touch with the festivals and always offering us. It's all about the festivals, you know. If they want us, they usually invite or they get Napalm's recommendations for bands and stuff and invite us. But Napalm is always trying trying to recommend us and talking about us to festivals and promoters, which is also great for us. And in Latin America, we always have someone from Brazil working with these things. Right now, I don't think we have one that is like, yeah, we didn't confirm with anyone yet, but we have some people that we know and worked with before that we're thinking about to book in South America and Latin America. And we have in Central America and North America already an agency that we worked before with NERVOSA too, that it's in Mexico. He books Mexican gigs.
Hoping the pandemic is left behind and all shows and festivals are starting back. You already have your first show scheduled for next year to see some Wacken Open Air 2022 European tour you will be doing with DSI and Crisium. What are other shows that are already confirmed for 2022? And will there be any shows still happen this year?
Confirmed that we can announce is just Wacken and the DSI and Crisium tour. And we have more things confirmed for 2022, but we unfortunately can't announce them yet. But we do have some things confirmed, some tours with other bands, big bands too. And where we didn't confirm yet, we are planning to schedule a tour in these spots that we don't have. So 2022, I think it's going to be pretty busy for us. But for 2021, we did have a tour plan, and we also confirmed a festival this year, but we don't think it's going to happen for us, unfortunately, because of the pandemic. Like, none of us could get the vaccine yet, and we think that it's not going to happen anytime soon in Brazil. It's going pretty slow and pretty bad. Okay. So, yeah, we could start playing this year, but it would be risky. We would be pretty much risking our health and the health of our family members that are home and, waiting for us to come back and stuff. So, yeah, we don't think it's worth rushing right now with the gigs and maybe getting sick with this disease. So we are waiting for next year.
I hope next year, yes, that the process of getting vaccinated in Brazil go much faster, that at least for the end of 2021 or at least the first part of 2022 that all of you are already vaccinated. I know in Holland, that's a much faster process. That's good for Sonia. I'm looking forward to see you guys on the road. I mean, especially Wacken. I'm looking forward to see if I can reach Wacken again, see you guys playing as NERVOSA, and would kindly like to see you guys as CRYPTA, and looking to see you guys anywhere else that you're going to be touring in Europe, especially because I mostly goes to Europe for the shows. Okay, but yeah, to conclude this interview, Luana, for fans that are so desperate to buy the band's merchandises, where should they go and what are the merch available?
Okay, in Brazil, we have our main store because, we are mostly here, so we have more ways to manage the Brazilian one, but the Brazilian one is called cryptashop.com.br. It only sells to Brazil, unfortunately, still. And we have our European store that goes all Europe, and I think it sends to Russia if someone buys there too and stuff like that. It's cryptashop.com then. And we have our Mexican and North American store. They send from Mexico, but it gets to North America, and it's in US dollars. Many people ask if $300 for a t-shirt. No, it's 300 pesos. It's normal amount of dollars, let's say. But I think it's agenciamexico.com, if I'm not wrong, /CRYPTA. But it's all on our social media. So we have these 3 stores around the world.
Okay, thank you for this great information to all of you. So if you want to order the band's CRYPTA merchandises, go to the link you just heard from Luana and make sure to get yours. I mean, t-shirt, patches, the albums, the vinyls, CDs. Luana, to end this great interview, the microphone of Meta Messiah Radio International is all yours to thank whomever you want to thank.
Thanks to DJ Vampire, first of all, for the interview, for the great questions, and to Meta Messiah Radio for the space for me to talk about my band and promote everything that I wanted to. And also special thanks to everyone that took the time to listen and to see what we had to say. And yes, thanks for the space, really, and for the media.
Okay, once again, Luana, I want to thank you very, very much for this interview. It's been a very great pleasure talking to you. And, like I always say, metal on. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye. Thanks.